The Ogush Show with Vinita. Get inspired, get involved. On Taranga, it's your wavelength. Hello and welcome, beautiful people, to a brand new show on Taranga. It's your wavelength. So let's get started with the Ogush Show with me, your host, Vinita. The first question on your mind would be, what is the Ogush Show all about? Well, it's about inspiration, it's about fun, and it's about inspiration with fun. And also about being selfish. Yes, my friends, be selfish. Think only about you throughout the show. Think what's in it for you. What can you take away from these 60 minutes? This is the end. Yes, the end of your search and the beginning of new you, the changed you, the more inspired you. Inspiration is that moment of clarity that helps you take decisions, the best decisions for that moment. Probably that moment may redefine your life or change it a tiny bit in a way you never imagined. So, obviously, the next question, especially for all you curious type, would be, why is the name Ogush? Ogush basically stands for online gush, and gush means flooding or spreading like fire. So, my wonderful listeners, we want to flood your gates with inspiration, motivation, and tons of positivity. And people, what else do you want other than feeling good? So get ready for the treat. On this show, we have four segments. First, we have the welcome cheer. The second and third segment, we feature inspiration icons, people who personify inspiration in their daily lives. And in the last segment, we focus on you, my friends, my precious, precious listeners. It's called Your Takeaway. So, what are we waiting for? Let's jump right in. On today's welcome segment, I want to focus on gratitude and random acts of kindness. Albert Einstein, I'm not sure why all references start with him, but yes, as cliche as this sounds, Albert Einstein, one of the greatest scientists in the history of this world, said his secrets to achievement was that he thanked others 100 times a day. His co workers, his staff, his family, and anyone who slightly, even morally helped him. He thanked these people 100 times a day. Yes, my friends, the number is 100. Well, you know that gratitude cannot be understated. It's powerful, one of the most powerful things in changing anyone's life. Gratitude is basically when you're thankful for someone, for something you receive, something you have, or probably you're born with. More often than not, we take these things for granted. And how much do we actually thank for these things we have? It's funny how gratitude works. People who are thankful for current things in their life are the ones who ultimately attract more things that they are thankful for. And you can guess the other kind. People who always cribbing and blaming are the people who attract more of that into their life. So, radio junkies, time for you to think, which category do you want to fall under? What's the choice you're making in your life? Every time you feel grateful for something, you are giving love. And as they say, what goes around comes around. That which you give, which in this case can be appreciation, you ultimately receive that. Oprah Winfrey has a gratitude journal, and she says that every day she writes one page on all the things she is grateful for in that day. She credits that this journaling habit has changed her life. Honestly, I copied that. I took inspiration from that, and I'm doing the same. And I can see a tiny bit change in my life. In fact, I want to share with you some of the things that I'm thankful for. So I'm going to read a note from my journal. Thank you for the amazing tennis coach. He starts my day with so much discipline every morning. Thanks for the compliment a stranger gave me in the lift today. Thanks for the note on Facebook from Neha, a really, really old friend. What a surprise. So made my day. And makes me realize I should send random appreciations or compliments to old friends, to new friends, and to family. Thank you for a wonderful fit body and mind. Thanks for the non-stop laughter with the girls today. So nonsensical, so serene. So, my friends, it's your turn now. I'm eager to hear from you. What are those things that you're grateful for? What are those things which you look at and say thank you? Write to me, and we would love to spread your ideas to the larger global community. And remember, my friends, the more you give, the more you receive. And here you go with my contact details. So, friends, you can contact me in many ways. You can either email me at ogush@tarangamedia.com or send me a message on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/pages/Ogush, or you can leave me a message at my Skype ID, ogush.taranga. So, the next theme for today is about little acts of kindness. I believe that which you extend out towards another person is that which you extend out towards yourself. The service or the kind gesture you offer people is that which you're offering yourself. Have you ever wondered why social service, CSR, funding an NGO, helping the underprivileged are so popular and universally professed? It's because that good feeling that you get after helping someone, especially if you don't know that person, is unparalleled. It's sublime. It's what makes you feel on top of the world. It is, by far, the biggest feeling I have ever got. So, my friends, every time you do a random act of kindness, it isn't for the people. It is for you. It is very, very selfish. So go ahead, be selfish, and help everyone and anyone around. Adam Grant, a well-known professor at Wharton, believes that there are three kinds of people in the world. Givers, people who give more than they take. Takers, people who take more than they give. And matchers, people who only give how much they take. His studies show that givers are ultimately the winners. There is nothing more rewarding than giving. The way to see a world of kindness is to become that kindness yourself. So I challenge you today to give yourself 7 days. 7 days of kindness, and all you need to do is spend 5 minutes of your time doing something nice for someone, holding the door for someone, sending flowers, genuinely praising someone, connecting to people who may have a mutual benefit, like a friend looking for a job and an acquaintance who's hiring. I challenge you to do this and write to me. You have my contact details. Here they are. So, friends, you can contact me in many ways. You can either email me at ogush@tarangamedia.com or send me a message on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/pages/Ogush, or you can leave me a message at my Skype ID, ogush.taranga. The Ogush Show with Vinita. Get inspired, get involved. On Taranga, it's your wavelength. Welcome back. This is definitely my favorite part of the show, as I get to talk to inspiration icons, people who are living inspirations. Just being in their presence makes the world seem lighter, who just ignite something nice in you every time you meet them. So, the first guest on my show is a woman who wears different hats. In fact, so many it's difficult to say which one is her primary one. A dental surgeon, an ace photographer, a charismatic Kathak dancer, a supermom of two angels, a lovely wife, someone who's witty and pretty, and most importantly, a wonderful human being. It gives me immense pleasure to have you on my show, Namrata Motihar Rupani. Welcome, Namrata.
Thank you, Vinita, for having me on the show.
So, from a full-fledged dental surgeon to photography. Intelligence and creativity. You definitely have been blessed. Could you tell the listeners, how did photography happen? What shaped it?
I was actually taking a break from my clinic. I've been practicing for almost over 12 years. And I had my first baby 7 years ago. So that's when I picked up my first camera, and there's really been no looking back. I probably needed an outlet then, and there was so much beauty around me that I just kept clicking.
So how did you take this hobby of clicking pictures? And could you tell us a little more about your journey? How did you convert that into profession? And what were your bumps? What were your highs? What kept you going?
My first profession has been dentistry, and as far as photography goes, I took up a couple of workshops initially, and after that I've been primarily self-taught. And now I've come to a point where we conduct photography workshops to teach, all that I've learned over the years. So it's basically been a lot of shooting and, a lot of sunsets, a lot of sunrises, my baby's first portfolio, and, I've always clicked more and more and basically gotten where I am right now.
Wow.
For me,
Yeah, go on.
So the lows probably would be the struggle. Photography is as much technical as it is creative. So to learn what I know now and, the hours that I've spent and trying to learn what I've learned. And my highs would most definitely be the massive collection of images that I've got, which keeps growing. Beautiful memories that I've accumulated over time, and, these will stay with me for years to come. So yeah, that would be my high.
So, wow, from a vacuum when you feel like you have nothing to do, and you took that as a beginning of, welcoming new things into your life, just converting every situation into an opportunity. And my lovely listeners, Namrata just proved that taking the opportunity route proved the greatest blessing in disguise. So, what would your advice be, or your golden words for the listeners of the Ogush Show? People who love taking pictures or are thinking of photography as a career?
I would say that, if I can do it and get this far, I'm sure each one of them who's interested can. See, photography is very spontaneous. It's a very spontaneous form of expression. And what's amazing is that everyone expresses themselves very uniquely. So it's a very good hobby option, and if you're really keen and you're dedicated, I'm sure you'll get far despite the initial struggle of, getting the hang of things. The best way to do it is to just keep shooting, and then now, of course, there are a lot of forums, online like the photo.net and stuff, which teach you a lot in terms of technicalities, and you can see work by other professionals and definitely learn from it.
So, my radio junkies, those are golden tips coming straight from the horse's mouth. Photo.net is your next website to log into. Tony Robbins says that success leaves clues, and now all of you definitely have a roadmap, much more than clues. All you need to do is follow it and spin yourself into a success story. So, Namrata, let's take 2 steps back and talk about your actual profession, doctor. You really have proved that if someone has a dream, they definitely can achieve it. We hear that you secured one of the 2 seats available in the most prestigious university in Delhi. How is that phase of life?
My initial years of life at home were very influenced by the atmosphere at home, which was very medicine and doctor-oriented. So I was also motivated to take up the same stream and line of work. And honestly, to qualify those exams, I worked really, really hard. It was almost like 16 hours of work a day. And, it did pay off because I got into CMC, which is one of the most prestigious institutions. And those years were very formative for me. I guess the struggle, living in a hostel all by yourself for the first time, and all that, the pressure of study and everything did, make me what I am, made you stronger, more independent and things like that. And after that, I went on to do my residency in Gangaram, which was where I got my practical training and opportunity to learn from the best clinicians in the capital. So, yeah, I've been very lucky with the places that I've found, and, the work that I've seen around me, and the training that I've got from, like, the best people.
It's definitely a winner's trait. Most people say that they are lucky, but there's so much of sweat and blood behind the opportunities that you've got. And going from the cream crowd of the CMC University to Gangaram, where everything was very minimalistic, I'm sure that you had very different aspects of your life, span out that way. How did, what was going through your mind then?
Gangaram was also very lavish in terms of the clinicals, the basic, the hands-on training, the kind of the variety of patients we saw, the kind of hands-on experience we got, and of course, rubbing shoulders with the best clinicians and learning from them. So, I think when I passed out from CMC and reached Gangaram, and I was at that very initial stage in my career where I wanted to, do as much as I could. So I didn't stop to think that I was working maybe 18 hours a day. I was just ready to give it my all, and, I still remember those times. It's pretty interesting when I look back, and, my day started at 7 and I ended at like 9:30, 10. So, that was another phase for sure. But then, I don't think I would have been the same had I not gone through that, those hours and those times. Yeah.
So you have to give some to get some, I guess.
Absolutely.
The toughest question for you today is Namrata the dentist or Namrata the photographer? And why?
That is a tough one for sure. Okay, dentistry is something that I studied and I trained and I worked very hard for, and it's something that is and will always be a part of me, as I'm professionally very attached to it. Photography was something that came up as a hobby, and over the years I attained levels of proficiency that probably started being recognized and professionally accepted. So I don't know if I could separate or identify either of those as, all or part of me. I think they kind of go hand in hand, and that is a tough question.
And you are giving me no answer. But as far as I have seen both your works, I guess I can't choose one for you either. Like I said, there is no primary hat for you. You wear these hats so well. One of the other roles that you play is that you've been a Kathak dancer for some years now. And I guess Kathak for you is meditation. You're just another person when you wear those bells on your feet. Do you think everyone should have that something special that disconnects you from the entire world? And what is your take on it?
Oh, absolutely. I think, and I strongly believe that everyone must have that something to fall back on. It could be a sport, a musical instrument, a dance, or any other hobby. It's just a very good way to channel your energies, and, who knows, you might always be able to take it to a level next, like a professional level.
Absolutely.
Because, I know what it feels like when you said that, when I wear those ghungroos in my feet, I actually feel like, for that 1 hour, I'm totally disconnected from the world. It's just my time. It's a very interesting feeling. It's like meditation, that you're so aware of just yourself and nothing else around you. And when you finish, you realize you were so happy for that 1 hour. So I think it's a very special feeling, and I would strongly suggest that everyone, nurture or develop something that makes them feel that good.
That definitely sounds like bliss, and I also feel that everyone should follow their inner bliss, either for a hobby or their profession. So let's get personal. Let's talk about a little bit of the other roles you play, like a wife, mother, I know you say that your kids are your secret strength. How do you balance it all?
My kids, yes, I've been truly blessed as far as they're concerned. They happen to be my strength and my anchor, my happiness. And it's very interesting how my world revolves around, them, their schedule, their timings. And I wouldn't take any credit when I say that, I've been able to balance things so far, because I would give them the credit. It just happens. It just all falls into place. They're amazing kids, and, I feel that whatever I learned with them being around is what I apply now to whatever I practice.
Wow. And are you going to give some credit to your husband too?
Yes, I would. I definitely would, because he's been the background to everything, and the strength that I did not sometimes find within me was passed on to me by him. So he's a very encouraging and a very positive person, and his optimism is very infectious. So I definitely would not have managed to do half the things that I manage if he wasn't by my side, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was going to say the same thing, that to wear so many different kind of hats, to do so many things in life, you definitely need a backbone, and you need to sometimes find it in your partner. And that's happened to you. So on today's show, we are featuring random acts of kindness. So have you ever done something that made someone smile, or someone ever did something for you that brightened up your day?
Well, I do make it a point to extend free treatment to a certain section of my patients at the clinic. And also a must-do for me is a visit. There is this home for the mentally challenged in Hyderabad, and I'd make these periodic visits there, which is part of my routine. And, these two things are very personal, which I wouldn't want to really talk too much about here. But I would like to say that I admire those people there at this home that I spoke about, who despite their shortfalls managed to do so much, and that too with a smile on their faces at all times. It's very inspiring.
And it's
very moving.
Absolutely, and it really grounds you, I guess, as a person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like a reality check.
And I'm sure there would have been times when you would have felt that immense gratitude for what you have just by visiting these homes.
Absolutely. I think that's why I said I think it's the less said the better, because it's a very humbling experience. It's something that you need to feel and experience when you go there, rather than being told about it.
I'm sure the listeners are curious to know what you do when you have those lows, or when the day exactly doesn't go your way. What is your stress buster?
It's very simple, actually. Lows are something I address by accepting them as a part of life. So I know that they're bound to happen, and once the acceptance is there, they don't really seem as overwhelming. Basically, nothing lasts forever is what I tell myself, repeatedly. And I do have amazing kids also who happen to be my total stress busters. Well, there's this one quote that my mom read out to me a couple of days ago, which says that happiest people do not necessarily have the best things. They simply appreciate the things they have. This is, I think, by Warren Buffett, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that makes a lot of sense and kind of sums it up.
Yeah, that's well said. In fact, that is definitely going to be on my mind for some time, that accept what you have and be happy in it. So I don't want to let you go, but this is our last question for you. What is your message for our listeners? What is your life mantra?
My life mantra would be take life one day at a time. We spend a lot of time in yesterday and tomorrow, and we totally forget to live it up today. So if we live for today, I feel that our yesterdays and tomorrows are well taken care of. So all I'd like to say is that live today and enjoy it moment to moment.
Thank you so much for being a part of this show. It was so interesting to have this conversation with you. And listeners, if you'd like to ask Namrata any questions, anything in detail, or just leave a comment for her, you know how to get to us. Thanks,
Thank
Namrata.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
And we are back to Ogush Show. Time to get involved, get inspired.
Today is definitely my bonus day. I get to talk to two superwomen. The next guest on my show is equally wonderful. She also wears many hats. She can give any leading model a run for her money. She has the beauty and the brains. Currently studying MBA at the Warden School, the best friend to have, a beautiful wife, and the most amazing person ever. I'm so proud to have on my show the sweetest kid on the block, Mrinalini Chandra. Welcome, Mrinalini.
Thanks, Sunita.
Everyone in your family and all your family members were really skeptic to send you abroad. Um, Breaking all norms at a young age, you believed in yourself and went to face the unknown. What was going through your mind then, and how were your initial days?
So it was definitely a tough decision for me to make to go study abroad alone. But luckily, despite other people being skeptic, my parents were very supportive, and so that really stuck with me. It was difficult when I went there initially to make decisions myself, something that I wasn't used to before, to really fend for myself and learn how to be independent. But I think after initial 2 to 3 months, I was able to, grow into my own person, make my own decisions, and it was a wonderful feeling.
So, from a young, shy girl, from a really conservative family, to being the number one student in USC, having the perfect GPA, and getting fully sponsored. My God, even saying this gives me goosebumps. How was that journey? What was your driving force? How did all this happen?
Yeah, so when I went there initially to USC, I wasn't very confident about myself, and it took me a while to really believe in myself, to develop that ability to be confident, to true to my dreams and goals. And so it took me a while. I think the first year was very difficult. I had to work very hard. But, I remembered my parents' support. I started believing more in myself. And I think that really drove me to my different successes.
So you were drowning everyone's negativity and just focusing on your goal and positivity. That's such a wonderful way to be. You keep mentioning a lot, even in these last 2 minutes, about your parents. So you definitely are a daddy's girl. And in our conversation previously, you said that you look up to him for advice, and he's your friend, guide, and mentor. Can you share with the listeners some stuff which he says you that really has molded you or that gives you strength?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that my dad has told me is just to never give up. It's as simple as that. And that's really kept me going. So even at low points, when I'm far away, I'm alone, and everything just seems to be falling apart, I remember that and just go on with whatever I need to do. And, like successes come, failures come, but the point is that you shouldn't ever give up on what your goals are. So I think that's the biggest piece of advice that's really helped me reach where I am.
Never give up. That is what Mrinalini swears by. And all your listeners, if you want to achieve your dreams, you know what to do. Never give up. You've come from a all-girls school, I guess your high school. And how is it going to like a male-dominated, like a really cutthroat, intensive eye-banking career? And I'd like to add here that I know Mrinalini for some time, and she is the most doll-like girly girl. So Mrinalini, how did you manage being amongst the bulldogs?
So I think it was an interesting twist, to life, coming from an all-girls school, and then, when I started my career doing banking, I was one of two girls in an office of 40. So it was definitely tough. I had to work really hard. But what was interesting was that, once I put in that effort, once people saw that I was serious about my career, and, I was willing to work hard for it, then they became very supportive. So, I didn't feel that I had to prove myself above and beyond others, but I did have to show the fact that I'm serious and that I'm dedicated to my job. And once that came through, it became very easy, and I gained a lot of support from my colleagues.
So your close friends say that. Just take it. So let's get a little personal, Mrinalini. Your close friends say that you have a perfect marriage. I'm sure making it work comes naturally to you, but if our listeners would like to take away some tips from you, your thinking, your marriage, and your principles, what would it be?
So thank you so much for saying that, Vinita. And I think one general principle advice that I would suggest to everyone is to really look at the bigger picture in a marriage. It's easy to get caught up in little fights and mundane details, but to realize that by you loved each other, so you got married, and to just keep that in mind. And so I think that has helped both me and my husband become really supportive of each other and, overlook small details in life. So, for instance, I went to study at Wharton just to enhance my career. I wasn't getting the kind of opportunities I wanted, and just felt it would be good for my personal development. So, it's not very common for husbands to send their wives abroad to study in India, but he fully supported me in doing that. So that's an example of things that have helped our marriage.
Wow, and he must be really proud of you because at Wharton you've turned out to be a star, from walking on the ramp for the charity show to being in all the intellectual clubs, from being an ice hockey player to being an admission fellow. You've done it all. So, what was that made you search for more and go do an MBA, apply to the best school, and even after getting there, trying and being one of the best students there?
So I think a lot of it just came from the need for me to really focus on the bigger goals in life. I felt that I needed those 2 years just to develop a network of friends who would support me in that, who would help me realize my potential and help me develop myself personally as well and as a leader. So it definitely has been a great opportunity for me to work on my leadership skills, to help me understand what I want to focus on long term. And I think that's been the main reason for me going there.
But just taking one step back, what really made you search for more when you were having a great life? What was that thing going on in your head then?
I think I just felt that I wanted to enhance myself one step further, you know. So yeah, definitely I had a lot of opportunities. Life was good, but I felt like this would be pushing myself one step further, which has always been something that I look for in life. Like pushing myself just a little further. So that was the main reason why I thought that this would be a good experience.
In Wharton, we have slang which says stretch experience. So you were a Whartonite even before you went to Wharton.
I guess you could say that.
So on today's show, we are featuring random acts of kindness. Have you ever done something that made someone smile, or did someone ever do something for you that brightened up your day?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, just 2 days ago, actually, this was an incident that made me smile, made my day. I was taking a flight back from Calcutta with my husband, and we checked in very late, so we both had middle seats, and, clearly no one would switch their aisle seat or window seat with us. So we were sitting far away from each other, and, it didn't really matter, but still. one guy saw us, looking at each other and, saying that, oh, Naki can die, and he volunteered. He said, why don't you sit here, both of you together? And that small thing just really made my day, it reinforces your faith in humanity. So that was a small act of kindness that definitely brought a smile to my face.
That's such a sweet story. So, my radio junkies, next time you're traveling on a flight, do make sure that if you can switch your suite, you can definitely make someone's day. I'm sure the listeners are curious to know what you do when you have lows, or when the day exactly does not go your way. In fact, I asked this to my previous guest too, so I want to ask you the same thing. What is your stress buster?
So I think I have multiple stress busters, but definitely the biggest one is just to put on my running shoes, go for a run, listen to my iPhone, listen to some good music, just kind of be in a different zone. That really just helps me kind of take my mind off everything, and it's been the biggest stress buster.
Okay, great. So, next time any of you are feeling a little stressed, you know what to do. Put on your running shoes. What is your message for our listeners? What do you live life by? And what is the last thing that you'd like to tell everyone listening to you?
Okay, so it's actually this quote by Theodore Roosevelt that I really follow in life, and it's a little long, so bear with me. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, who strives valiantly, who in the end at best knows the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be amongst those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat.
Bravo, bravo.
So, basically, I think the essence is that, try for whatever you want. Don't be afraid.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing all your inspiring stories with us. And it was such a pleasure to have you on my show. And listeners, you know how to contact us if you want to have more questions from Mrinalini. Just contact us on our Facebook page. Thank you so much, Mrinalini.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
The Ogush Show with Vinita. Get inspired, get involved. On Taranga, it's your wavelength. Welcome back from the break. Okay, friends, let me introduce you to one of our integral members of the Ogush team, our very own blogger, the smart, talented, and witty Lalita Kakulapati. Her resume proudly says that she majors in drinking coffee. She is an coffee addict. She has enhanced skills about being lazy, a complete chocoholic, and a little crazy. Well, the last one is obvious because she's a part of Ogush. So Lalita and me are on a mission to profess to you listeners why we are doing what we are doing. What is inspiration all about? Why do we feature inspiration icons? Why Ogush? And how this all started. So, the seed of all this was inspiration. So, let me ask you, why inspiration?
Well, what can I say? Inspiration is an integral part of life. Sometimes life seems very ordinary and we find ourselves doing the same thing, being around the same people, even though we might not even like them. And life's ups and downs can leave us feeling like we're on a very scary roller coaster ride, and sometimes we just need a pick me up. For all of this, well, we need inspiration at one point of time or the other. And, well, inspiration can come from anywhere, it can come from anyone. So, let's talk more about where inspiration comes from.
Great. So now, since we know the role of inspiration, what Lalita is suggesting is let's talk about where it comes from. Where does the inspiration come from? What are the sources? What really motivates you to achieve these big goals in life? What is the starting point of all this? Are they people, places, a movie, literature, science? What are they?
Well, it could be anything. It could be even nature. It could be monuments. It could be just somebody's personality trait. It depends on a person's perspective. Some people take inspiration from very influential people like Mother Teresa or Albert Einstein. And, while we're on that track, we could talk about Steve Jobs. I mean, if you talk to people in the IT industry, I think most of them would list him as a major source of their inspiration. Or it could be a very small thing, or millions of people who may not be world famous, ordinary people around you, but something about them would be an inspiration to you in small little ways. Or it could just be nature, a sunrise, or uh, the sea, or just raindrops dripping off a leaf, or anything at all. It just depends on your perspective.
Absolutely. And I guess people from the business community really look up to Richard Branson or Ratan Tata for that matter. So, who is your inspiration icon? What, who do you seek up to inspiration for?
Well, I have a lot of sources of inspiration. Um, Nature is a big source, and I look to the sea for my strength because I am from Vizag. It's a coastal city, and the sea is, part of you when you grow up near it. And there are a lot of different people. I admire Mother Teresa for her kindness, and I admire J.K. Rowling for her tenacity in getting Harry Potter out there. And, well, a lot of people, a lot of things. Okay, so that's enough about me. Finita, tell me what inspires you.
Mm, my biggest source of inspiration is actually philosophy. I am so intrigued by philosophy. It's not even funny. Like, I can just go on and on reading, writing, talking about philosophy, and I just forget. I just lose the track of time. One of my biggest inspirers and a popular philosopher is Louise Hay, and she really professes that how you can change your reality by just changing your thoughts, and how by loving yourself you can just completely change the world around you. She says that the only relation that you need to be worried about is the relationship with yourself. And the first time I heard it, it was so groundbreaking for me because this is something I had heard for the first time, that you need to actually love yourself more than your parents, than your family, than your friends. Um, so that really got me going in this philosophical path. And another popular philosopher is Wayne Dyer, and he actually brings to life stories that have real life stories that have changed people just by forgiveness and by gratitude. He says that he has cured cancer patients, and physically challenged people. He's made them do wonders just by uh, focusing on forgiveness and gratitude. And like you said, the sea is really inspiring for you. For me, it would be mountaintops. when I go to mountaintops and look at the whole city below or the nature below, that sense of silence and serenity is unparalleled for me. It's just, it's really crazy. There is one temple on a mountaintop in Hyderabad where I go often. If you guys are from the city, you definitely should check this place out. It's in Mahindra Hills. It's a Buddhist temple. Just go there for sightseeing. I'm telling you, that is going to be your go to place, like it's mine.
Okay, so that's wonderful to hear.
Movies really inspire me. One of a movie which came a little long back was Zindagi Na Mile Dobara, and that really showed me that you should live life every moment and find the essence of small moments that make up the larger life of yours.
And while we're at it, let's talk about something that inspiring me right now. It's the Bollywood movie Bhag Milkha Bhag.
Oh, that was really an inspiring movie. One of my personal favorites till date. In fact, it was inspirational at so many different levels. The entire physicality of it, like you can train and achieve such high goals of physical achievement at the same time, achieve such high barrier, like cross such mind barriers and achieve so high even in thinking, even in your mind, you just break all the glass ceilings.
Yeah. I mean, Milkha Singh was able to grow from being a refugee of the partition at India's independence. And from there, he went to being a national and international level athlete. And his dedication and his struggles with himself and with the world to achieve his goals, and the way he was inspired to break the world record, and how hard he trains, we can all learn so many different things from it.
I'm sure after watching the movie and listening to us from this segment, at least I know the gym memberships of all our listeners would definitely would be paid a visit and would multiply in the next 2 weeks.
I'm sure of that too. But the important thing is, what happens after the first spark. You listen to different things, you get inspiration from somewhere, and what happens then?
Yeah, that is a very important part of achieving. I think inspiration, like you rightly said, is the first spark, is just the first baby step towards achieving anything. But it's all useless if the seed is not nurtured and protected. Like Will Smith said, that you need to protect your dreams. And so is the same for achieving your goals. So it's very crucial to go on, to go until the goal is reached.
Yeah, well, I mean, a thought has the power to change the world. Apples have been falling down for millions of years, but until Newton got hit on his head, nobody discovered gravity. And I was talking about J.K. Rowling earlier. She once said that Harry Potter walked into her head fully formed while she was traveling on a train. If she hadn't put that thought down into writing, and if she hadn't pursued so many publishers and gotten, disheartened at the first few rejections, well, the international phenomenon would still be in her head. And we'd have missed out on a really great thing. So,
Absolutely, never give up and keep trying till you achieve the goal is definitely that needs to be that needs to be set into perspective, because inspiration can just give you a start, but to complete the race, you definitely need to be persistent. And like you mentioned, J.K. Rowling was, I think, was the number 7 or 12. She was rejected by almost 7 authors, publishers.
Well, I don't remember, but well, it's so hard to take rejection that, even one rejection disheartens people. So the important thing is to keep trying.
Exactly. So, listeners, tell us what inspires you. What is that first step that you will take to achieve your goals? What are your goals? What are you willing to break boundaries for to achieve those new territories? What makes you go and say, oh my God, I should do this? Write to us and tell us about it. We may give some of you some surprise calls on our next show. So, you know what my contact details are. So, friends, you can contact me in many ways. You can either email me at ogush@tarangamedia.com or send me a message on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/pages/Ogush, or you can leave me a message at my Skype ID, ogush.taranga. So, listeners, fasten your seatbelts for the inspirational tweets for today. The first tweet that I have taken is from Tony Robbins, and you can follow him at Tony Robbins. He tweets, "High intensity training is extraordinary. It is based on scientific studies that show how to maximize results in the shortest period of time." Yes, my friends, high intensity training. The second quote is from one of my favorite inspiring authors, Marston Kipp. You can follow him at The Daily Love. He tweets, "The only thing we owe other people is our joy and fulfillment." The next tweet is taken from Sports Quotes, and you can follow them at sports_great. "Good things come to those who wait. Greater things come to those who are willing to work for it." And the next tweet is from my favorite author and a great philosopher. In fact, I think I've read almost all his books, Paulo Coelho. And you can follow him at Paulo Coelho. "The weak are wicked. Goodness can only be expected from the strong." And my friends, I would not miss out on this opportunity to talk to you about my favorite tweet from my page. You can follow me at Vanita Surana. And the tweet for today is, "The snake that does not shed its skin must perish. #change, #transformation." So, my friends, welcome change. Do not fear it, because it may be the best opportunity that you might get. Thank you so much for listening to us. It was a pleasure to have you all on this show. Until next time, like I always say, stay inspired. The Ogush Show with Vanita. Get inspired, get involved. On Taranga, it's your wavelength.